Good evening, everyone, and a very warm welcome to Abhi Awas, the Voice of Now, an initiative by Abhinandan Education and Welfare Society. I am Abhay Singh Rawat, and it is my privilege to moderate today's webinar on NEP 2020, Foundational Learning and Scaling, Building Safe, Inclusive, and Future-Ready Education Ecosystem. As India moved towards the vision of Viksit Bharat, education has emerged as one of the most important pillars for national development. The National Education Policy 2020 provides a transformative roadmap for ensuring equitable access, foundational learning, future ready skills, and a holistic development for every child. At the same time, challenges related to learning gaps, child protection, mental health, and digital inclusion, and even education access continue to demand a collective action from educators, policymakers, civil society organizations, and communities. And today, we are joined by distinguished experts who will share their valuable insights and experiences on creating inclusive and future ready education systems for all children. Before we begin, I would also like to share that today's conversation follows a spirit of Abhi Awas Cafe, a space where meaningful discussions happen over a cup of a tea or a coffee, just like a cafe conversation. This session is designed to be a warm, open, engaging, and encouraging heart to heart dialogue, the exchange of ideas, personal experiences, and collective learning. So, before we begin our discussion, although I have prepared a long paragraphs for you all about your introductions and all, but I would really like if you can introduce yourself and tell about what you do and how things happen. So, first, Anvita ma'am.
Okay. So, thank you very much, Abhay, for this introduction to all the wonderful work that you are doing. And I'm really happy to be a part of this webinar. Uh, so, about myself, I have been in the line of education for 25 years now, almost 25 years. My expertise lies in the International Baccalaureate, which is the IB education. I started my career as a teacher way back in 2000 when I joined a CBSE school. Then I moved on to IB. And since then, I've done many roles in a school. I've been a teacher. I started as a teacher. I went on to becoming a program coordinator and then the head of school. And for the last about 10 years, I've been working as a head of school in different schools. And I'm extremely passionate about what I do. I enjoy what I do. I'm also very passionate about inclusion, and creating inclusive communities where children learn, where they grow, and where they feel emotionally safe. For me, that is very important. So um, that's my personal philosophy and my principle that I do all my work around. To also appreciate that every child is different and they grow at different levels. And as educators, as schools, as a community, even beyond school, I think what we need to do is to give them safe spaces where they can grow and learn and experience the joy of learning, not the fear of learning. So that's about me. I mean, one can keep talking, but thank you for giving me this opportunity to
It's
share.
beautiful. So nice to know about you and your journey, Anvita. And I could just derive something which I don't want to leave it till the end of the session. You beautifully said that every child is so different and their journeys are different. Their way of dealing is so different. So, in my journey of 17 years, I've also developed schools. I have been an educationist, and I have seen that women sometimes, when they step out of their respective homes, and especially in the fields of teaching, um, you know, they come out very irrational. They have degrees, but they don't have experience to handle those children. They don't have experience to handle their own emotions. There is a war going on inside every human being. But in this new era of generation where we can talk about everything openly, still we need to know how to hold and balance our emotions when we step out. And as teachers, I think it's most important to behave and have a conduct in front of children. And it's vice versa also, but we see a lack of conduct in children these days, and teachers don't get respect from children. But I really feel that, when you have to uh, become a mark in front of children, you have to have some boundaries of conduct. As I give my example, I have my relationship with my teachers till date. My teachers are spread across the globe. Out of one teacher I would like to mention here, she used to teach me in grade 4. And believe me, she's in States now, settled in States. Uh, till I could uh, touch base with her with a aerogram, I did. Till I could maintain a contact with her on an email, I did. Then came the Facebook era. Then came the other ways of reaching out to her. And God was so kind that my son, he was studying in Boston, and she as a mother took care of my son. So I've maintained my relationships to that extent with my teachers, and it's beautiful how much blessings and how much goodness you derive from your teachers. You don't even know, it's endless, apart from education, pure proper academic education. And thank you so much. Your entire journey has been very, very enriching, and we hope that your current position, the children derive the best out of you and your staff as well. I
Thank you
would
so
just
much.
request Mahima also now to at least speak about her, and because I have worked with her, so I know a little bit about her, but there's a lot to know about her. She herself is a Pandora box. So please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Manisha. It's always so full of like so much kindness and warmth, and so nice to be in a conversation with you. Thank you, Abhay. Yeah, I loved your cafe idea. I was very excited to sit with my cup of coffee for this chat. Okay, so I'll also make it more relevant to what we're talking about today, children, and my work around that. So I'm a psychotherapist. I work in the field of mental health since 2012, when mental health was not as popular or woke as it is today. At that time, we would struggle. Just saying ki I'm a psychologist would mean like I had to, explain to people what psychologists mean, because they would think pagal log hain kya. And today, interestingly, uninterestingly, everybody is a therapist. So that's an interesting, I think, wave I have ridden in the Indian mental health scene. But for the schools, I think it's been a great upscale progress. I was one of the first school counselors in the city of Rajasthan, in Jodhpur, where I was at that time working. So at that time, I remember कि मतलब school counselors तो बस उसमें ही आए थे, on the form that every school should have a school counselor. It was never really implemented, and it wasn't happening. Um, to shift to today, and I think that's been a great progress, where that kind of information and that kind of visibility is present. So that's, I think, an upscale for sure. And I worked with kids in school for about 10 years. I was working with the Sri Aurobindo Society, so I'm part of their organization. Again, I think working in schools, you wear different hats. So while I was the school counselor, also setting up their psychology center, also the coordinator for the society for integral education. So I think that has also influenced a lot of my work, the integral education system, and seeing a student more holistically. and we would work in that curriculum. So I think just starting in the school system while I was not a teacher, trained like into B.Ed and curriculums, just coming from that, I think idea into the school system really helped me anchor my entire practice, even today when I work with clients, to be able to see them not just like very straight jacket, but to see them as a full human being and all the potentiality that they can have. And yeah, I'm just really excited to be here, excited to be in presence of Anvita ma'am, Manisha, what they have to say, and see where this discussion flows. So thank you for having me.
Our pleasure, our absolute pleasure to have both of you on this, again, very interesting platform. Let's start our journey. Abhay, please take it further.
Yes, ma'am, for sure. So, to begin our discussion, let us first explore the vision of national education policy and understand why foundational learning has become a national priority. So, the first question is from Anvita ma'am. Like
Mm.
from your school leadership perspective, first, can you explain in a single sentence what NEP is? And second, that what is it has a potential to change in the classroom perspective. What potential it have?
Okay. So the NEP is a document which I'm sure all of us know about. So I'm going to talk more about the potential. It is a document that lays down what are the changes that must come into the classrooms. And it's actually, I think it's a very a revolutionary kind of a document because the kind of changes that it has laid down for the schools is going to change the entire teaching and learning methodology, philosophy, and the end goal. For example, the NEP 2020 talks a lot about inquiry based curriculum, where the student comes in the center of the learning instead of it being teacher led. So when we went to school, we would have a teacher come to school, write on the board, we would write in our notebooks, and then we would go and learn it. But inquiry is a very different format altogether, where the teacher comes and the teacher ends up asking questions, provocations they are called, where the teacher will say, I'm going to teach this, so what do you think about it? What do you want to know about it? Where do you think we'll find the information about it? So, this entire methodology puts the onus of learning back onto the student. So, the student is not following the teacher, it's actually the teacher following the student. And I truly believe that even, we are talking about children here who are at a certain level of maturity. We as adults, the moment we ask a question, we are interested in the answer. But if you're going to keep talking to an adult also for 10, after 10 minutes, you've lost the adult. We are thinking of many other things. But here the child is constantly involved in their learning. While they're involved in their learning, they also learn skills. The skill of questioning, which is actually the communication skill, asking the right questions, staying on track. Research, where the child goes and says, where do I find my answers? Because if you look at our world today, our world is knowledge is in abundance. It's at a click of a phone or a tap. You have open AI, you have so many things. So if knowledge is in abundance, then what are we getting the children to learn for? You know, we need them to understand what they're learning, make connections with the world around, and be able to use that learning. And the NEP 2020, with bringing in the inquiry methodology, moves away from memorization, just completing the syllabus and examination performance, and it goes to conceptual understanding, it goes to inquiry, it goes to problem solving, critical thinking, building skills. The other thing that I must talk about, which is so important, which is a part of the NEP, is that it's bringing culture and heritage in a big way. So it's moving away. I mean, it's not moving away, it still has chemistry, biology, but those are done in isolation. They make little sense unless you connect it with the culture, unless you talk about the heritage of the country. And the NEP talks about that as well. Um, so it talks about design thinking, which is what is once again the need of, it talks about numeracy and literacy, about ensuring that the students, let's say till grade 3, are able to read and write. So you're focusing on that. The moment a child has learned how to read and write, children are naturally curious and inquisitive. The moment you know how to read and write, learning never stops. It talks about lifelong learners. How do you create lifelong learners? First is to take away the stress from the schools, and the NEP has done that. It's taking away the stress. But having said that, I mean, one could keep talking about all the good aspects of NEP. All of this is possible with training the teachers, with breaking out, getting them to break away from what they have to unlearn the way they have learned, and they have to relearn. And we have to step into the lives and the learning format of students instead of getting them to step into our format, which is so many years old, which doesn't even, a lot of it doesn't even make sense anymore to the child today, you know. Therefore, the NEP is a beautiful document. It will change the next generation of India, but it has to be implemented in the right way, and training
Yes.
has to be given.
So I have a very valid question ahead of this, which will be the other part of the question will be answered by Mahima. In few words, tell me, you have taken us through the journey of NEP, of all the good benefits. One sentence, if you could tell me any drawback,
Um,
which you as an educationist see and you want to, uh, you know, maybe correct it in your form to make it a better one.
um, I actually don't see any drawback in the NEP, but what I do see, the document, according to me, doesn't have any drawback, but the people interpreting it and still dealing with it in the very, very rote learning kind of way is causing the drawbacks.
Oh,
And we all
lovely.
know the kind of, things that have been happening with this. So it is how we are interpreting it. We are still in our mind thinking
Yeah,
rote learning.
yeah,
We have to be extremely open minded to understand the NEP.
excellent. So, Mahima, I would request you to answer the other part of the question. As Anvita, she introduced the new education policy, but I still feel that there is a huge gap of, say, a lot of burden on children. So how do we address that? Of course, schools are doing their bit through sports, through not putting them into a concept, taking them away from the rote learning concept, but there is a lot of pressure. And then there is another part of this question, which I will come back to Anvita. But tell us how to reduce the pressure of the children. And as Anvita also mentioned one thing, that they're doing a continuous learning of the teachers. So there is tremendous pressure on teachers also. You know, they're not getting that similar teacher student respect in today's world. They have moved to more of karna hai to karo, it's okay, it's our job to do it. So there is a connection which is missing. Everything is there, but the connection is not there.
Hmm.
Respect is not there. So tell us first that how do the both strata of you know uh, the givers and the learners, how do they manage their stress? And that tip
Hmm.
would be for every profession and every aspect of life.
Hmm. So when you said the word pressure, just yesterday I was in this conversation, a very interesting analogy somebody had mentioned. They said a cricketer in a field, when he is the batsman, when he is batting, if he looks at the ball and the audience behind the ball sort of blurs, that is focus. If he's looking at the audience and the ball is blurred, that's pressure. So when you were talking about pressure, like that seems very apt, because I think that's also like everything is about result. Like while we can say it is not grade based, marks don't matter, it is okay. Uska bhi, I feel there is also like a repercussion to that, because it is like either you do really well, or it's okay whatever you're doing, you get passed to the next class, and then the child actually doesn't know anything. So there is like these extremities that I think, and I think what ma'am said, the interpretation is in extremities. Either you do it like really hard and you do it good and you become the best school and the best child, or you're just like free school जिसमें बच्चों को पता ही नहीं क्या चल रहा है, they sort of left, the train has left. I think that middle ground is alignment. I think I'm just wondering, like from a psychologist, from that perspective, right? Like, can the school and the teacher align? Can the teacher and the child align? Because it feels the children are in a different world and the teachers are in a different world. I don't think they sort of see eye to eye. They're communicating in the same language. It's just they're existing in the same space but in different worlds. So for me, like that one thing of creating, like removing the stress across is to, can we align? Can we just meet each other where we are? I think that's where it starts from. I can't tell you.
So it's very radical. It's moved from the
Yeah,
traditional way to like what suits us, what suits you.
yeah. And thoda
Yeah.
Indian, I mean, overly, if we get into like the systemic parts of it, like Indian, there is a hierarchy, na? I mean, there is a guru
Yeah.
shishya, sure, and I respect that. There is a teacher, there is a student, but unfortunately, the world is not functioning like that. We need to sort of come here
Yes.
and
Yeah.
see what's happening. Yeah.
Yeah. So coming back to you, Anvita, now tell us that how does the education world is reacting to the new phase of tech, which is the AI world? Since the end of 2025 and beginning of 2026, since the AI has reached the common man's pocket, do you think that life will be ever same? We all of us talk about good days, पहले की बात होती थी, पहले बहुत अच्छा होता था, सबका एक ही jargon है, एक ही thought process है, एक ही philosophy है कि पहले का समय बहुत अच्छा होता था. So we took a long time to, you know, to understand that, oh, computers are built, computers are now a part of our lives. And then came the Google world. Everything was on a click. But Google has taken a monstrous shape, a very different shape. I would not say a good or bad, but a very different shape. And life is never going to be the same since if we understand, I think initial of 2026, AI could reach our pockets. So has the educational world or maybe the government has taken some decision, internal decision on the educational platform that maybe class 2 till class 2 or and from class 2 to 5 and then 5 to 8 and then 8 to 12, this is the parameter that students can, just touch and use this kind of AI to submit their submissions, their work, which should not affect their human mind, their human knowledge. It should always enhance, tech should always enhance the human mind and the capacity instead of lowering and reducing it and making human beings more slow and sluggish. So I would like your opinion from the horse's mouth to come to make us understand that, yes, it should be there. And if it should be there, why it should be there, and how much it should be there.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's a very hard question. That's really so I remember when I was in school, we got a computer um in our school, a single computer. It was a desktop, and it was kept in the largest room of the school. It was given that status where it was kept in the largest school. Then, and then slowly and steadily one started working with laptops and all that. And then came the COVID situation when suddenly overnight everybody needed to go online. And online in today's time and age is the simplest form of technology where you have your Google and you have your Microsoft Teams and you have your Zoom. And I remember I was heading a school in Bangalore at that time, and you wouldn't believe it, there were some teachers who actually stopped responding. They went underground, they hid. So these were the older teachers who had never done technology. And this is just 2020 21 is when that happened. And we had to really um, encourage them, train them, and tell them this is the only way. And that was the time when we were all saying, we all believe that we'll go back to, we'll go back once COVID is over. But since then, nobody has gone back. And the reality is that nobody is going back. So,
We always
as
move forward.
yes, and it's technology is growing at such a rapid state right now that every day, if you see, there was Chat GPT, then came Claude, and now
Yeah,
they're saying Chat GPT and Claude is also
yeah,
yesteryears, and you shouldn't be. So every day there's something new coming up, and that is the reality of our lives today.
yeah,
And I think the first thing that we need to do is we need to accept that.
yeah,
I see a lot of schools and teachers know it's a reality, but we are pretending it isn't there. It's that ostrich mentality where you put your head in the sand and feel others can't see you when everyone else can see you, but you feel that, so we are in that space. And quite honestly, I mean, I am a big patriot, but in my personal opinion, and I haven't done the CBSE so much, so I wouldn't be, I can't say with authority, but from what I hear from my colleagues, what I read, all of that, um, I think we have a long way to go. We really have a long way to go. Um, it could be because of our numbers. We are such a large country, we have so many schools. And to bring about any change, of course, we've grown a lot in the last couple of years. Undoubtedly, we've grown a lot. But there's still such a long way to go. Now, if you look at, I can talk about IB because that's what I do. Now, IB is something that is in India, that's all over the world. So there was a time when this AI had come in and students had started doing their assignments on AI. And at that time, including me, we didn't want to look at it. We didn't want to believe that it is true. When and now IB has a policy on how to use AI. The point is that we need to accept it. We need to train ourselves because the children know more than us right now. We need to train ourselves and we really need to sit down. In India, we need to have a set of educators different from different places, from the villages, from the second tier cities, from the metropolitans, and even people who are doing the international curriculum. As Indians, we need to sit down and we need to see that where is it that we want to go and what has to be done. And in my mind, what has to be done, like I was talking about the NEP, where training has to be done for us to be able to deal with AI in a manner that we can take our children forward. We need to be trained first. The fear of AI has to go out. And only then will we start. Right now, I know some of the teachers, they'll write you a mail using AI, and it's a 3-page mail, and you read it and you say, what are you trying to say? It is, I have a headache, I'm not coming to school.
Good
So
one.
we have to stop using it um, in such a in a manner that we are right now. Our
Yeah.
teachers, our CBSE teachers, they need to be trained. And I don't blame them. We haven't lived in a world which is now like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Training is the thing that is going to
Yeah.
take us forward. We can have the best documents, the best plans. It's like having the perfect recipe, but having no cook. That perfect recipe is only a part of the book then. So I think that we have to first of all understand that a child who's born today is able to scroll a iPhone or any other Android phone. They are naturals at it. We are not. We cannot pretend that it isn't a part of our world. It is. We have to accept that we are not trained for it. So when you put all these realities on ground, it is only then that you come to a solution to it. Else we are like those that whole story about the elephant and the people who are wearing the blindfold.
Mm,
Currently we are at that stage, honestly.
mm,
Yeah. So taking it further, Mahima, tell me now, you see a lot of patients, you know the ground reality. Now, my question superseding to the knowledge which we have got from Anvita. Anvita is working in the core heart of education. So, where do we? She explained it very nicely that it's they're born naturals. This generation is born natural with a high tech in a high tech world.
mm,
So, uh, how does human brain accept it, levelize it, levelize the way of learning? uh, how should we stop the bad effects of technology so that the brain doesn't become dependent, slow, and sluggish? For
mm,
example, you look at anybody from our generation, we would know that the city, maybe not inside out, but at least the basic
mm,
directions. You reach the colony and then maybe ask people in a very old traditional way and or go with the Google map.
mm,
But at least 20%, 30%, 50%, 70%, we are confident about our human brain. We would
mm,
remember the names of the colonies, the roads, our approach is clear. And then we get the support of the tech. At
mm,
least some application and juggling is there. What is happening to the newer generation? What are the harmful effects?
mm,
And then the last part of my question is very important. How do we catch them young?
mm,
How are the schools going to help us rectify this issue? Where do we put filters? How much? How many? Because as Anvita just mentioned, they are born naturals. They are
mm,
very different generation. But the reality is that yoga is very important, meditation is very important. You should know when to stop, where to stop,
mm,
because the entire nervous system is getting affected. Your eyesight is getting affected. Your the way we are eating, what we are breathing, the air is not the same. So
mm,
everything is in a correlation. Give
mm,
me your insight on
mm.
this.
Yeah, I such a tough question. I think I struggle. I personally struggle that how do I accept AI in life? Like I have clients who tell me, but ChatGPT was telling me this and you're telling me this, and I'm just like, yeah, let's invite ChatGPT into the conversation now. It is tough, and I think we all are like slightly lost. But like if I take a step back from the chaos and theoretize it, because right now we can only theoretically say कि ऐसे कर सकते हैं because like ma'am also said, you're literally living in times we've never lived before. So we really don't know how it's going to play out. We can only like predict and prevent, implement measures. Any kind of change takes time. So we need to be patient. It takes routine, consistency for it to be built over time. And I think and then the vision, and then we clarify the vision. Like, so for me, I'm asking, is the vision that how do we mm, remove the ill effects of AI? Or are we saying that, okay, using of AI is going to bring this? How do we balance it with other things that can also supplement it? So, like you said, yoga or meditation. So, can we, and maybe for us, because it's so new, it does feel like it takes up 80% of our life because, whatever said and done, it is quite convenient. And for us who came from no internet to AI now, we are just like, oh my God, wow, oh my God, wow, ye bhi karte hain, wo bhi karte hain. There is, I think, a positive I see that for kids who are sort of being born in this era, for them, it's not like, oh my God, wow. It's not an invention that is going to, that's taken over their world. So catching them young would mean to make normalize it as part of their routine, not their entire life. Because for us, my
Exactly.
entire life, yeah.
Exactly.
So to sort of say, okay, 1 hour of this and 1 hour of this and 1 hour of this, and
Exactly.
okay, 1 hour of AI, and I feel that kind of a thing is like more enmeshed in a more healthier way than a full flood of AI taking over. And also, like one man said is so true. Like you can want to say 3 lines and have a 3-page written. Hana, the point of AI is not to replace our brain. The point of AI was to supplement and to
Yes.
help our brain. So to also, again, when we are working with kids, even if you're giving assignments, working in schools, घर पे homework करा रहे हैं, to sort of make it almost like play, make it collaborative, see how discernment can still be present while you're using AI. I think, yeah, those kind of things feel maybe practical, yeah, for what's to
So there
come.
was an era where we were trying to introduce a lot of tool therapy to all the children. Uh, so, Anvita, what is your take that where is the time to uh, play Ludo physically? Everything has become technology now. Where is the time to play chess on a chessboard? I mean, uh, it's technology has taken over. So, as the head of an institution, where do you, uh, try? How do you try and put a like a full stop or a margin that there's okay, you can practice it on technology. That's the way because as you just mentioned that we're in an era where we cannot sideline all these things, but majorly sports has this utility and uh, brain warming tools, playing games physically on board games, so important.
Mhm.
you know
Yeah.
uh, uh, the yogis used to say that human brain has the capacity to have 3 libraries in one human brain. So
Mhm.
imagine that what kind of human brain we are utilizing in today's era. एक सड़क पे चलने के लिए the newer generation needs Google. So much
Mhm.
dependency which one man created and he's become endlessly multi-billionaire and he's ruling the world now. The entire human brain. So how
Mhm.
as a head of an organization, how do you compart you try to equalize the time so that children can have maximum exposure in the school hours because you can't control their home hours. So
Very true. I couldn't agree with you more. And even with Mahima, I think she said something so beautiful, and that's what I was thinking at that time, that it's the whole thing of normalize and balance it. And you know what,
Yes.
Manisha, you are saying is very important. And I think in today's time and age, the role of a school as a community where learning happens is even more important, because we are the people who need to balance that out and also to normalize it. Now, for example, um, I think what we need to the AI is there, computers are there, laptops, iPads, phones, everything is there. But there is still, um, we need to still give importance to reading and writing, using the library. Um, so, what we do in school is that we ensure that children, even when they have a choice of giving online exams, we still ensure that they do the pen and paper exam, because that's the coordination they need. That's how they think. And you're very right, in today's time and age where we were far more resilient, because we went through all this. We could actually find a place, cross the road ourselves. And today children are so dependent on technology that they're not using their brains to do something. It's so easy to do it. So as a school, what you're saying, that these board games are so important. So
Hmm.
as a school, you need to have a time of free play, like the posters that are right behind you, where there are children who are holding hands, they are running for the ball. But I'll tell you what the good part is, that even today, children love going to the field. As a head of school, uh, if I take away their sports lesson for any reason, there's a huge uproar for that. So that is the saving grace, that children still like to play with each other. They still want to play football. They want to jump into the pool. And I think as educators and as parents, we need to balance it out, because uh, AI is a part of their life now. So now we need to make sure that we ensure that they are connected to even our traditional games. And that is where the NEP culture and heritage comes in, where I think schools should celebrate a traditional games day. We are so busy playing rugby and pickleball and all of that. But what about kho? And what
Oh,
about
I played a
pitti?
lot of Coco. I was a
Yeah,
part of the team in my school.
yeah.
I
So I would come.
loved it.
Yeah, and our children won't even probably. A lot of children won't know the name also. They would
Yeah,
know the international games, but they won't know that. So
yeah,
as schools, while at one point in time we need to train our teachers so that they also are not scared of it and they don't keep pushing it away, because the more you push something, the more it comes towards you, and get the children to understand that it's normal. And I think what we need to do is we need to get them to use it to their advantage. Right now they are becoming slaves of it, but actually it's a tool, that it's like what you said, that we did tool training.
yeah,
This also needs to be like that. um but actually, if you think of it, the society is taking a full circle right now, because you hear
exactly.
so much about those bhajan clubs and all that.
Hmm.
So do you see that people are going back to being with each other,
How nice.
moving towards spirituality?
Yeah,
So people are. So the only thing that we need to do is keep them connected to it, ensure that every child has a hobby, follows his passion, which
yeah,
is not gaming. And gaming can be a profession also. There are children who are taking up gaming. So I think we need to balance that. We need to make sure we
very
need to
well said.
infuse
Yeah,
the
that's the right
human
word.
elements into
Yeah.
this very, very AI world.
Excellent. And that so much is coming out. I think we should have done this like a physical conversation. So, on a quick note, Mahima, uh, I have derived few things from our conversation. Very beautifully, Anvita said that still children love to be on the fields, and they she's seeing a lot of convergence. She's seeing amazing infusions, what is happening around in the world. So I would like to speak about my experience because for past almost 2 decades, I've been working with the lesser privileged. Situation is going bad to worse, and technology is taking over in a shape where they need the lower strata of society where they don't understand the meaning of balance. Uh, they are in a situation where they don't know the basic hours of their work. Everything wants to be quickly, finished to an end. बस खत्म हो और हम फोन पे लगे. Second thing which I beautifully derived from Anvita, which she mentioned, that spirituality is coming back in a very beautiful way, and I really understand. I give the present government also the credit, the way they are spreading the Hinduism, and it's going down towards and touching every strata of society, whether it's age or people. It's not for only people those who have retired from their professions and they understand ab to Bhagwan ka naam hi japna hai. So tell us how spirituality plays a very very important role when we need some anchor in life. Everything stands still, but spirituality is peace, it's calmness. And how do you see as a therapist, which would help the younger generation uh, more and heal up better?
Hmm. Mm. Okay, so just to think you're asking, how can spirituality help people connect better with themselves, like the kids?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Uh, how can it? No, that's interesting. I'm actually
yeah.
wondering, like, how can, I mean, of course it does. I mean, I'm also at this point going to sort of maybe speak from a more psychological perspective,
Yes,
because that's the
according, yes,
language
yes,
I think
yes.
in.
Just
Hmm,
see it as an anchor, and how does
hmm,
it support the calmness of brain?
of a
Maybe
person.
it gets you together, and
Hmm,
it helps the children. If this spirituality is rightly sown in every household that it used to
hmm,
be, it will really help the children. So,
hmm,
from a therapist point of view, how
hmm.
much it should be, how children should practice it, maybe it can be taken towards meditation,
Yeah.
and it's it's somehow very, it has a lot of calming effects, and
Hmm,
there are disasters happening in each one of us life regardless of the age. पता
hmm,
नहीं चलता कि when we would lose what. Uh, we are seeing such young deaths happening. Had
hmm,
they understood the meaning of surrender and acceptance in life, these
hmm,
children would have just taken another chances. Like, let's talk about
hmm,
the NEET exam.
hmm,
Recently happened. How many children
hmm.
they ended their lives, which
Such
was
a
not
tragedy.
relevant.
Yeah.
They could have just thought about the
Hmm,
God, surrender. They could have thought about their parents. They could have thought about
hmm,
their loved ones. Anything which
hmm.
holds them as an anchor.
Yeah, yeah. So for me also, I look at spirituality or anything in two, I think, lenses that we would use. One is a trauma lens, and
Yeah,
I think we are living in a very high trauma world, whether it's geopolitical, whether it's climatic, whether it's financial, whether it's what's happening in the world, everything's changing, jobs are being redundant. Like, there's a lot of uncertainty all the time, which makes
exactly.
us come into a very survival state. And that's what's happening. All of us are like almost in a survivalistic state. तो उसमें तो when you go into spirituality, automatically one, your nervous system shifts from a very thing. You go from this very survival state of mind, to a more calming, to a more oneness. What Advaita would say,
Yes.
would to sort of say that,
Yes.
you know, there is, I'm connected to a part of me that is connected to everyone, and that's the experience that spirituality gives you. There is no kaise hota hai, kya hota hai, bas wohi hai. Pani piyo, pyas bujhega is the same thing. Like you connect to
Yeah.
that part of you, and you do feel
Yeah.
that there is more vastness to your presence, and that of course has that. You know, it helps you deal with the kind of trauma and the world we are living in.
Yeah.
Second is relationality. I think another, I mean, for me, spirituality is almost like when you can relate to something that you know will always be present, and will not let you down, will not betray you. You know, you can trust in them, you know, you can like sort of find solace in them. Having that kind of relationality brings you so much of strength,
Excellent.
that is what sort of makes you go on, because relationships anyways are quite skewed. आजकल you talk about marriages, you talk about even
Yeah.
parent child relationship, तो कहाँ पे मिलेगा वो
Yeah.
spirituality या God की तरफ? I think that essence you can derive from. So I think whether it's to move your nervous system to a more calmer state, trauma informed lens say, and just relationality, to have something which is bigger than you taking care of you, that is not all crazy what we call in existentialism, na ki we are not going lost in the void. I think spirituality helps there for sure, in whatever age. I think, I mean, just like side note, because I worked in the Shri Aurobindo Center. We had a meditation hall. Children would go. I would go with them and sit in meditation sometimes. कि हम बहुत परेशान हो रहे हैं, क्या करें? There's no solution. Come, let's just go and sit. Then we would just go sit in silence. And I have seen how, I mean, I would see the 11, 12 standard students of our school who would look so innocent versus another school. There's an inter-school meet, and I would be like, oh my God, हमारे बच्चे इतने बेचारे लगते हैं. बेचारे क्यों? Because they retained that innocence. They had somehow that sense of like wonder and, you know, wanting aspiration and doing something good for the world because they're going to get something back from their deeds. So I think that mindset can be cultivated in schools and kids for sure.
Yeah.
Can you
Yeah.
quickly elaborate on how your therapies uh, are moving from the traditional form of
Mm.
therapies to more holistic
Yeah.
DTM? I'm
Yeah.
a big fan of you because you practice different form of
Mm.
therapies, but very
Mm.
concise. We have viewers, those who have
Mm.
questions for us. So
Mm.
describe the different form of therapies also,
Therapies?
which really, because as you said that हर इंसान को लगता है मैं कोई पागल हूँ.
Mm.
So they don't want to have a psychologist and other person who wants their therapy across the table. They find
Mm.
it very outdated. And
Mm.
how do you recommend art, dance,
Mm.
and those therapies, and how a word of your opinion maybe can be inculcated on the grounds of the schools, which
Mm.
is which will be really really helpful for the children if it starts at the right state.
Mm. Well, a lot of Eastern influence for sure, because of course through our masters we were Western psychology, and I think the Eastern psychology influence is what brings, like we were saying, now this entire seeing a human holistically. And I might be wrong because I don't know about all school systems, but my understanding is also that we are very cognitive based. Like the era we are living in is so cognitive. Like when I work somatically a lot, which is body based work. So whether we're doing yoga, we're doing dance movement therapy, or we're doing somatic work, which is working with the body in order to influence the brain. That work is called. Now, somatics is something that was developed in the West, but if you sort of go back, it is a mix of pranayam and yoga and body awareness, and sort of it starts converging, these two sort of start converging in the world today. But people are so disconnected from their bodies. Matlab, if I say, okay, how are you feeling in your, first it was people were disconnected emotionally. We would intellectualize a lot, like something has happened, you know what you think of it, ये कैसे चल रहा है क्या, मतलब all theories are coming from the mind, but you actually can't feel it. You can't feel it in your body. And if I ask them, okay, how is it feeling in your body, it's numb. You And so there's that disconnection there, right? So my therapy is basically then like just working with people over years, I realized कि भाई एक part तो completely missing है. We are only Rahu. मतलब there's only the head. The entire system is not there. And so let's start with the body. And so a lot of body-based therapies, which is beautiful with kids because kids are body-based. Before they hit teenagers and before they go like super cognitive, it is the body that is so active. But वो body को भी हम ना थोड़ा सा we sort of confine it, whether it's not being able to go outside and play for enough hours, whether it's sitting in the school period after period, half an hour, half an hour, half an hour, and then they get like a 10-minute break. A lot of things is also disconnecting them from their body. So I think just focusing when the time is right for the body to just really make it very alive, because it's the only tangible thing, right? That thoughts are anyways intangible. मतलब memory है या present है या past है, it's all in the air. This is the only thing that's present. And I also feel personally that if we take care of our bodies, we take care of the physicality around us. So I also feel like there is this connection between taking care of our bodies and taking care of earth, physically, because it's the same thing. You're made of the same thing. So then it flows outward also. So I don't know if that answered your question or was that too vague.
You have actually elevated the conversation to a large extent. Uh, in fact, we need to have more and more podcast on that. But sorry, webinar on that. But very interesting, which conversation which we could break out was that yes, mind, body, and soul, everything is aligned. Everything is aligned inside and outside. Everything is aligned in the universe. Everything we talk, everything we see, everything we प्रोक्लेम एवरीथिंग वी टॉक, इसलिए शायद बड़े बूढ़े बोलते थे कि जब भी बोलो अच्छा बोलो, अपने लिए भी अच्छा बोलो, आसपास वालों के लिए भी अच्छा बोलो. And I really feel that good times will come and we will have a better world where uh, education will be a part of the entire process, whether it is your mental growth, your physical growth, your spiritual growth, a growth where your future is surrounded. But as Anvita said, that things are changing. And they're beautiful. The education policies are evolving. Human beings are getting better. They're becoming more sensitive for the environment, things around them, their body. I still feel, apart from their this goodness, there is a huge gap we need to, cover,
Yeah.
and we need to do a lot in our respective fields. And we women have a lot more sensitivity inside, and which we need to, I think, portray in a better way in our professional life, our personal life, our social life, and our social responsibility also. I wish you all the very best, both of you. Keep doing well, keep shining, and thank you for being on such a beautiful platform. And keep encouraging organizations like us and showing us the right way, because you have much more to say. Your exposures are far bigger than ours, and we need your support to get it down to a society which needs all of us in a more functional aspect. We have few questions. I would request Abhay to take it over and ask the respective panelists according to their expertise. You can throw away the questions and we are ready to answer.
Yes, sure, ma'am. Now we are starting some of the questions, and the audience can send more questions too. So first to Anvita ma'am, that schools ensure that students have academic excellence, but how the schools ensure that they have values, empathy, creativity, and the most important, a responsible citizenship.
That's a beautiful question to whoever who's asked. Thank you so much. So I wouldn't say all schools do that, but I know that a lot of schools do that. So along with academic excellence, we do look at emotional well-being, We do look at sustainability. A lot of schools have started talking a lot about sustainability. So we look at that. Now there are schools that take children for camps and break away from the phones and the laptops and all that. And when we go to the hills, we teach them how to be one with nature, how to keep things clean and clear. So, in our own ways, a lot of schools have a whole curriculum on emotional well-being, and that has values also. Values is very much a part of it. So this is what a lot of us are doing, and I am completely aware that we need to do a lot more to undo. There is obviously a negative impact of technology also, to ensure that the children remain human and understand human values. So these are the things that schools do, and I want to assure you that schools are constantly, a lot of schools are constantly thinking of what are the different ways in which we can humanize their world and keep it human.
Mm.
Thank you, ma'am. Next question is from Akansha, from Mahima ma'am. As you know, today children face increasing academic pressure and especially the social media influence and emotional challenges. So, how parents as well as educators can create an emotionally secure environments where children can express themselves freely? That's actually a challenge nowadays.
Hmm. Yeah. Thank you, Akanksha. I think this is hard. This question has remained the same since so many years. I think, yeah. I think for parents, easiest thing is sit with your child every day and ask them, "How are you?" Not weekly, not monthly, not only when they get good marks, not only when they get terrible marks. Every day, just sit with your child 15 minutes, go for a walk, play a game of Ludo or chess with them, and just have a chat. I think that relationship between parent child, I think, is monumental, and yeah, that is what's going to create that secure space for the child. And for schools, of course, it's bigger because they're dealing with more kids, and I think the school has, or the teachers, educators, additional responsibility to teach emotional vocabulary, to teach emotional intelligence. And I think it is a skill that can be taught because that's what we do, literally. Yeah, so I think that if we are sort of able to do these two, I think it should yeah, get good results.
Ma'am, if you don't mind, can you explain a
Mhm.
little bit about the emotional vocabulary?
Emotional vocabulary. So something as simple as we use this acronym called RAIN, which is recognize, acknowledge, investigate, nurture. So I'm having a feeling. So first we are like, acha big. I mean, depending on the age group, and I'm thinking of a really tiny
Mm,
child here. We go like big emotion hai ki little emotion hai. है ना? So that is telling us the frequency or the intensity. So that person, the child, like big emotion, and you can see them, of course, being in a certain state.
mm,
R is to recognize, and we have something called emotion wheels, or you can create charts that have all this emotional vocabulary written. So you say, okay, can you tell me, can you recognize what you're feeling, what is alive inside you right now from this list? Are you disappointed? Are you guilty? Are you angry? Are you, so you can have a list of these things, then they recognize. As soon as you're able to recognize and name the feeling, 50% of that intensity goes. That's science. That's how the body works. So they immediately drop down and regulate to a certain level. Then you acknowledge. Then it's like, okay, I'm feeling this way. And then there's investigate, nurture. So you know something as simple as just
mm.
a few steps on how the child can increase their vocabulary and regulate themselves, or and then maybe help them with certain tools like breathing, movement, shaking, for regulation, after they've done this. So yeah, something like that.
Thank you, ma'am. Next question is from Muskan for Manisha ma'am, that through your extensive work with undeserved communities, like what are some of the biggest barriers that continue to prevent vulnerable children from access quality education?
Uh, Very interesting, Abhay. Thank you for this question. And you with are always with me at the center. So I think you can also address this question very well. But which I really feel is uh, chahat and the EQ. There is this kind of strata where emotional quotient is very low. The emotional support from household is very low. See, guidance is plenty. Guidance is on social media, which is there in their hands, in their pockets. Guidance is through the government institutions. Guidance is through the government responsibility projects which they're doing. Guidance comes through institutions like Abhinandan. But there is something which I in my lifetime has not seen it becoming like a very extreme positive change. uh, there is a willpower inside which is very low, and it doesn't get the support of the parents. Parents will they want they everybody believes in the strength of education today. They know that the tomorrow will be brighter through only walking on the path of education. But still there is emotional quotient is low, emotional support is very poor, their willpower power is zero. So I think it is a collaborative effort. If this collaboration happens, miracle will happen and change will come for sure.
Okay. So we have many more questions right now, but let's ask one more. So it is from just wait a minute. Yeah, it is from Abhinav from Anvita ma'am. Like, what practical changes are schools making to make uh, school away from the rote learning thing? That's one of the most basic things that happens. So how can we like separate the child from that?
So different schools are doing different things, but I do know that schools are leaning more towards project-based learning, where the children are, using their hands to create projects, and that way you get to learn also. There is a value in introducing languages in a school, but of course it has to be done in a very balanced kind of a manner. That is also something that takes you away from rote learning, because learning a language is a skill that that gets you to understand, to communicate. Once again, all your skills are getting used. Inquiry methodology is another space where you're not, we are moving away from rote learning because it focuses more on conceptual understanding. So these are some of the things that the schools are doing, and um, moving away from the kind of assessments that we used to have is another form where the child is not stressed about an exam and is more focused on understanding that than to mug it up or rote learn it just 2 or 3 days before the exam. A child, if the pressure of marks is taken away from a child, learning will be more, because a child is genuinely learning, and the goal is not to get a 8 on 10 or a 9 or a 99.9% or 100%, which actually is very impossible to get, but a lot of children do get it. So the moment it goes into the conceptual space, you are writing from your own understanding. And there are schools that are at different stages of this journey, and I'm sure that they're going to cross this bridge into a very beautiful space for children where stress will not be there so much.
Yeah, sure. Wonderful answer, ma'am. So one last question for Mahima ma'am also. So as we all know that mental health is often discussed, but it is normally discussed when things happen. So what are the
Hmm.
things that we can inculcate in our daily lives? So like we can prevent it beforehand.
Hmm. Um, in schools, I think hiring like having a mental health professional, like a
Yeah.
school counselor and a special educator, definitely I think helps, makes a huge difference. And then depending on the strength of the school, have those number of people to help you in this alive, because teachers are doing like a lot. Like there's so much they're doing. What we can do for the teachers also is training training, right? Like what we've all been talking about. Um, we used to do like something called like art break, like something also simple. Like when I was in school, ki matlab 1 September, one Friday of every September every year, the entire school, जो भी कर रहे हैं, I used to fight for it, is going to stop, take a break for half an hour. वो जो वो होते थे speakers around the school, वहाँ पे music चलाते थे. Everybody from Baijis to the principal to all the kids would sit down and create art. Like I was like, no one's going to do anything but create art. So can we would like
Which
just
school
stop?
was this? Which school was this?
She or in the school, yeah. But yeah,
That's why we can see the byproduct.
yeah, no, so I was a school counselor, so I used to fight, and also thankfully, like, for the principal and all, she accepted. She said, "ठीक है, like, go do your crazy ideas." So she allowed that to sort of happen, right? But stuff like this, like, just take a breather. Like, it's okay. Like, it's okay. In the middle of the school day, we can take a breather and just maybe dance or just create noise or just like it's okay. It's okay to be
Yeah.
human. So I think that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How nice. So, the take today is that it's okay not to be okay. It's
Mm,
okay to be okay or extra okay. It is your relationship with inside you.
mm,
First, how much you understand yourself, how much you align with yourself inside, and then your personal outside world. It is not about making everybody happy around you. It is about self satisfaction. It is about getting better every day. The fight is inside, happiness is inside, the core strength is inside. Everything else can wait. So, if you win over your inside, the alignment will happen. And
mm.
of course, you will win the outside world. Thank you, both of you. It was such a beautiful, enriching conversation. So much to take further ahead from today. And I hope that this association remains in tune and we take it further.
So